Tech Tales 10. This is where I talk through stories of billable work for real-world clients that I've performed recently. I'm reading from the time slips that I record for them and then try to expand on that a little bit for the purpose of giving an idea of what a computer consultant, what type of work we do for small business clients. Well, most of my clients are small office and some residential. Mostly the residential are somehow connected to a business client. So that's what this first one is. She called me with explaining that she had forgotten how to scan, and this is from her computer and multifunction printer at home. This woman used to work for a office client of mine, and then she retired. Her husband has a business, which is kind of in its wind down or retirement phase. I'm not really sure how much they're doing with that anymore. So really, this is a residential purpose. So she needed to scan some documents. I think it's a fairly unusual task. So she was trying to initiate the scan from the scanner, a multifunction printer device. I connected remotely to her computer and guided her through how to initiate the scan from the computer. When a multifunction device is connected to a computer, I find that it's easiest for setup purposes and for training purposes to initiate the scan from the computer. And my thinking on this goes, if you've got a computer and you have a USB cable connected to a printer, then you're just right there at your computer and printer, and it makes sense to initiate the scan from the computer. Put the paper in the paper feed for the scanner and click buttons on the computer to start it. As compared to in an office environment where you have a big copy machine, somewhere maybe centrally located. You walk over to that copy machine and put your original material into the copy machine. It's most convenient to push buttons on the copy machine to initiate the scan. And by the time you get back to your computer, you just click on an icon on your desktop to open the folder where that scan is stored. Now that same process could be done with a scanner that's either connected by USB cable or just connected to the network or connected through Wi-Fi. There are methods to configure it to initiate the scan from the device and be able to choose which computer you want to send the scan to, which would be a choice that you might be interested in if there's multiple computers at the home that want to be able to scan. I find the configuration for that to be flaky, difficult to achieve. It can break easily with a Windows update, can break that function, and then trying to talk somebody through fixing that on the printer remotely is very difficult because I can't connect remotely to that kind of printer. So I far prefer to connect a USB cable to the computer and that there's a printer scanner device scanning to this computer. And if they need to scan to another computer in the home, then perhaps scan it to the computer that's connected by USB cable, then use network file sharing to get to that file. Or from the second computer, use a shared printer off of the computer that has the device connected to it and initiate the scan from there. That's a little more complicated to do, and off the top of my head, I'm not totally sure that I've done it that way. But these multifunction devices in a home environment, to be able to scan to multiple different computers, I cringe at doing that because it can so easily break and need an on-site service call most likely. Depends upon how computer literate the person is in the home environment. So this situation was simple example, let's see, I think this was connected by USB cable. Now I'm even questioning that. But we were able to begin the scan from the computer, and it worked fine. So really that was just a review of how to do it. That was a 12-minute telephone and remote connection service. Then the next one is the pest control company that I've spoken a few times about. This was yet another person in their office that I was on the phone and remotely connecting to his computer regarding, yes, once again, scanning problem. And this is scanning from a copy machine to his computer. And this was another one of those situations where the private-public network was causing the problems. Now that I mention that, it seems to me that there is a comment that I briefly noticed on my cell phone that somebody was asking about that private-public networking and thought it should be the other way around. Let me see if I see that. Yes, here it is. El Galena says, it would seem intuitive to me that a public setting would share capabilities and the private would restrict. I'm confused. Well, it's a reasonable confusion. So what this person is saying that if I have a computer here and I have a printer here and I say that I'm public, it's saying that I will let anybody share my resources. And that would be a reasonable thing to say, as opposed to saying, I'm private. I don't want anybody seeing my computer or connecting to me. And I can understand that reasoning. But that's not the way we use the words in computer networking. The public-private is not referring to my computer. It's referring to the network that I'm on. All the connected devices that are in it's called a local network. This is us. This is our stuff. And it's private from everyone else out there in the world. So if you take your laptop computer to someplace that has a Wi-Fi connection, maybe a Starbucks or a McDonald's or wherever it might be, a hotel, that we call a public network because anybody, you don't know who could be connecting to that network. And so the default is we don't want them accessing my computer. So when my laptop is connected to that public network, my laptop is functioning more private. Yeah, I can see where the confusion comes. But it's a public network. My computer is private. I don't want them accessing it. So when I connect to that Wi-Fi system, I'm identifying that Wi-Fi, that connection out there as a public network. And I don't want them accessing me. So I hope that kind of explains it. It looks like Mike Novelli replied. Let's see, what does he say? He says the system assumes there's an escalated potentia malicious risk on a public versus private, and default increases the security when connected to a public versus private. Now, I understand what he said, but I can see where a person who's confused by these terms might have difficulty understanding that. But his statement is exactly correct. There is a higher potential for malicious risks. Somebody out there, some hacker in this public environment that's trying to get into people's computers and steal content. So when the computer is connected to a network that's in a public area, we want to have increased security. All right, let's go on to the next one. I hope that helped El Galena, but we'll see. Then next, that was San Joaquin. Okay, so then I come up to the next week, which is the week that we're in now. And you might think that I'm going to start talking about Monday. No, I'm going to start talking about Sunday. I am one of those who will work weekends or after hours, and I don't charge more for that time. A lot of times that it's convenient to me, and I don't have restrictions in my life that make that difficult to do. I take time off during typical business week, so it doesn't mean that I'm working crazy hours. I really am not. But it's my choice to work after hours and weekends, and I like it just fine. So anyway, here, let's see, that was not the one. Where did that go? I just saw that a first one there for 3 hours, and now I don't see it anymore. Did I accidentally delete it while I'm talking away? No. Oh, no. Okay, I'm mixing this up with another. Well, now wait a minute. There's the 3 hours. Oh, the 3 hours was from the prior week. Oh, that's right, because I worked in the CPA's office the prior Sunday, and I think I must have told you about that in a prior Tech Tales. So this Sunday, the 18th, was a remote connection to the front desk computer. It's not fair to say it's the receptionist computer. It is the front desk as somebody comes in, but this person does more than reception duties. I did a installation of QuickBooks Accountant Desktop version 2019 for her. Now, I recently swapped computers between 2 desks in this office, and I'm certain I've told you about this in a prior episode. Now, she needed another piece of software on this computer that's now at her desk that was not already on it. It was QuickBooks Accountant Desktop 2019. That we have a 2-user license for it, which means 2 people can be using it in the same company at the same time. They don't need to do that. They're each working on a separate company file because it's a CPA office. They're working on their clients' records. But she needed the 2019 version, and for 2 particular clients of theirs. So I installed it and activated the license. And then I went to open one of those company files. Ideally, I would have liked to have opened both of the company files that she deals with, because I was pretty sure that she's accustomed to being able to open the software and on the recent companies list be able to see the companies that she wants to work with. I went to open the first one and it asked me for a password that I don't have that. So I couldn't complete the opening of it. So I left that dialog window on the screen for the password for that company file. And I opened a notepad, and typed a message to her on top of that saying, you should go ahead and enter the password here so that QuickBooks will remember this company file. And I think she did that. My evidence for that is that she wound up calling me after a couple hours into her morning saying, well, I need this other company file too. And I wasn't able to open that one because I could only leave one of them at that password screen. So it was, the other company file wasn't on her recent companies list. So I connected remotely and showed her how to maneuver through the directory structure to find that other company file. And it turns out she had already gotten into the directory structure. However, this particular company file was in a different folder. She didn't know how to get to that. So I showed her how to get to that to kind of improve her understanding of how folders work. And she opened that company file. Now, in doing so, I realized that what I said to you 1 minute ago was inaccurate, because she pointed out to me that she can have two different instances of QuickBooks 2019 Accountant open at the same time. And I had forgotten that because I don't use Accountant Desktop myself to be aware of it. With QuickBooks Pro Desktop, which is what I have used for a long time before I went to QuickBooks Online, with the QuickBooks Pro Desktop, you can only have one company file open at a time. So when I got to that dialog box asking for the password for that one company, I'm stuck right there. But with the Accountant Edition, I could have right-clicked on the icon for launching the program and opened another instance. I could have maneuvered to that other company file and attempted to open it to where it would ask for the password, so that when she arrived back at work on Monday, she could have entered the password for each of those, and that would have put those two companies on the recently used company list for QuickBooks Accountant Edition. So there I gave a whole bunch of extra stuff beyond what the time slip included, because I'm trying to get across the idea of what types of work or topics or subject matter I get involved in. And another consultant may have completely different experiences, and the reality of that work may be completely different. All I can show you is what I do. So I hope that was useful to you. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.